So this is the 2022 Chevrolet Bolt EV. Now, if you want a compact, long-range EV, this is a solid option. Now, obviously Tesla is the go-to for many people, but honestly, I think this Bolt really holds its own. And for 2022, there have been some very much needed updates. And I'm gonna show you all those right now. But if you guys are new to CarGurus, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you guys never miss an upload, but let's go ahead and jump into this new Bolt. So for 2022, the Bolt EV gets this all new front fascia and I am really liking it. It's a lot smoother. I like this new sort of area here in the middle. The headlights though, I think look really cool. It flows into these body lines going on the side. You're gonna have this daytime running LED up top, but this is not your headlight. Your headlight's been moved down here, which does have a really cool look. Now, once we get to the side profile, you guys can really see what I was talking about with these headlights flowing into that black body line that basically splits, goes around the windows right there. It looks really nice. You're gonna have these updated wheels and you're gonna have this new color, which is called Ice Blue Metallic, and I'm loving the way this color looks on this car. Now, coming to the back, you have one major change, and the reason I say major is because for a lot of people, this was one of the design elements that they weren't too fond of, or you were either head over heels for it. So the taillights used to have this sort of squiggly line, for lack of a better word. Now that's been replaced with two horizontal lines back here, which make it look a lot cleaner. So once again, you either love this now, or you wish you had the character from having the squiggly lines going up. But either way, I personally like the look. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below. Do you like these taillights, or do you like the previous taillights? Now, unfortunately, one of the downsides of the Bolt is that you do not get a front trunk. So instead, you have all of your powertrain components under here. This is a 65 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack, so unchanged from the previous year models. Exact same range at 259 miles. And with this being front wheel drive, that means all of your drivetrain components are under here as well. But it still gets a fair amount of range, as you guys will see, and we'll talk more about that once we go for a drive. Okay, so on the interior of the updated Bolt EV, I really like these changes. I do wish there was a little bit more color in here to break things up, because right now it is all black, but you have an updated seat design, which Chevy says should be more comfortable. I can attest that it is more comfortable by a big margin. I don't really think so. It still feels a little bit on the harder side, but you'll be fine on a 2 to 3 hour trip. Anything after that, you may start to feel the hardness of the seats. Now, coming up here, you do have an updated dash design. You have a lot more gloss black up here, which is either a love or a hate for most people. If you love to keep your car clean, spotless, not a lot of dust, that's gonna drive you insane, especially because it falls all the way down here into this updated center console. Now, you have this updated screen, works a lot faster. It's gonna have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and I love the display resolution. It's very crisp. Right below that, you have your heated seats, heated steering wheel, a wireless charging pad. You now have a sports mode, which is a little flag down here. You're gonna have your traction control next to that. You're gonna have your lane assist right there. And then you have this new push button shifter, which you basically pull up to throw it into drive, put it into reverse. You have a super high resolution camera, park right there. You have a lot of storage space underneath here. So I have a wallet here, for example. I can just easily fit that in there, and it's just a cavernous space right there. Even more cavernous is this armrest. I can literally fit like half my arm in there, which is pretty nice. You have this updated steering wheel, which looks really cool. You have this regenerative braking button. So on top of having actual one pedal driving here, if I want to turn my one pedal driving off and then just use regen at any random time, let's say I'm going down a mountain road and I want to take advantage of the coasting, but use this paddle to regen, you can do that as well on top of using your brakes. So you technically have 3 ways to regen or brake the vehicle, which may be confusing. This one, however, does not have Super Cruise. So you have the Bolt EUV, which is another addition for 2022, a little bit bigger, a little bit higher up. That one is going to come with Super Cruise. You cannot get it on the non-EUV Bolt. Now, your digital screen right behind your steering wheel is exactly the same as the previous year model, so no changes there. You're gonna have a Bose sound system in here as well. The only downsides really are the fact that you don't have dual zone climate control and you don't have a moonroof as an option. I do wish you could get the moonroof especially, just because it would bring a little bit more light into the car, but that's really the only downsides of the interior. So sitting in the back seat of the Bolt EV. Now this is pretty much the same space as before, so unchanged once again back here. Now this is where I was sat being in the front. I'm about 6 feet tall, and then I've got like maybe half an inch between my knee and the seat. So it's a fair amount of room. It's not gonna be anything super significant, but headroom is surprisingly good. I can fit back here with my large hair, and it's like barely touching. You do have USB and USB-C back here. No rear vents, unfortunately, so if you have little ones back here or animals back here, you'll probably just have to make sure the front air is hitting them in the back. You do have this armrest, which is pretty soft, 2 cup holders here that can fold up, and you can actually fit a third person if you need to, because once again, with this being electric, you don't have a transmission tunnel, so the floor is completely flat. You've got storage space in the door pockets, and that's pretty much all the amenities back here. So let's go ahead and check out the trunk. So in the back of the Bolt EV, you have a really good amount of space for this size of a vehicle. Because you don't have a gas tank, you can make that storage space go a lot deeper. And if you want even more room, all you have to do is take off these few straps right here, lay that down there, and then basically just fold your seats down, and then you have more space. Now, if you can notice, there is still a gap here, so this floor is adjustable. So I can pull this up, slide it right into here, and then you pretty much have a flat loading area. Okay, so driving the Bolt EV. Now, once again, I've always liked this car. I like the way it drives. This new steering wheel feels very nice. I like the leather. It feels very buttery smooth in your hands, but obviously that's not related to how the car actually drives. It drives nice. It's fairly well insulated in here. You hear road noise, you hear, big bumps, you hear the suspension doing its thing. It's pretty average for a compact sized vehicle. The one thing I do like for sure is just the updated tech, especially in this main screen. I love pulling up the energy screen because it shows you in this really cool graphic the energy coming out of the battery, the energy coming back into the battery, and lots of cars have done this, but I just like the way this one looks. The resolution is very high and it just looks very video game-like. It's pretty cool. Now, as I come to a stop, I can basically pull this regen paddle and it should bring me to a full stop. So that's pretty cool. And now, once again, that was with regen one pedal off. So I can push that, that'll turn on one pedal driving. And at that point, I can accelerate. And as soon as I come off the accelerator, you guys will see in just a second, here we go. It slows you down pretty dramatically. So that is very nice. And around town, it's actually the more efficient way to drive because you have to press the pedal a little bit more to use more energy. Therefore, you're using less energy. Now, ergonomics are very nice as well. The visibility out of here is excellent. Large windshield. You've got these 2 quarter panel windows, which is great. Large side windows. View out of the back is excellent through my rear view mirror. And if I were to check my blind spot on either side, it's pretty good. All the visibility is absolutely excellent. On top of that, you have blind spot monitoring, which helps even more. Now, continuing on the ergonomics, everything is very easy to get to. The touchscreen is just within an arm's reach away. All of my climate control, all of my heated seats, heated steering wheel, the drive mode selector, my drinks. Nothing is too close to me, nothing's too far away from me. So this is like a solid Goldilocks setup. Now let's talk about acceleration. Now, for those that have driven an EV, you know what it feels like. It's very smooth, just effortless propulsion, easy to control, easy to generate power. It's just really nice. Now, for those of you who've never driven an EV, it's like turning on a light switch. You go pedal all the way down to the floor, and your power's just right there. It's pretty quick. It's not obviously the fastest thing out there in terms of electric vehicles, but it is plenty for most people in an everyday driving situation. So as a commuter car, this is the perfect amount of power. But now you have this sport mode. So if I push that, and the cool thing with electric power is if I'm going 30, I need to get over, I need to merge, I need to do anything that would be considered an emergency situation. I just go foot all the way to the floor. Oh, and in sport mode, it feels a lot better. So it basically just allows more power to be sent to the electric motor, but the downside is, of course, it is going to use more energy. Okay, let's talk efficiency. Now, I have had this car for about a week, and I just took a trip to Santa Monica from Laguna Beach, spent the whole day out there, drove around, drove back. Then we went out and did dinner in Irvine that night. That put about 158 miles in the car, and it's currently showing about 96, 95 miles remaining. So if that proves to be true, that's pretty darn close to the EPA rated range of 259 miles. Okay, let's talk competitors and pricing. Now, this Bolt for 2022 starts at a much lower price. Now, for the Bolt EV, it starts at $31,000 roughly. And this one as is the 2LT, starts at around $34,000. This has pretty much all the options and it only brings it up to about $36,000. So 36 grand is pretty much absolutely maxed out with the Bolt EV. Now this competes against vehicles like the Nissan Leaf, the Kona Electric, the Niro EV. Some people may consider a Tesla Model 3, but here's where this Bolt really shines. So we already know the real world range is pretty close to what they quote, which is great. Compared to vehicles like, let's say, Tesla, doesn't really get quite the real world range, at least on the base model. That one starts at around $39,000. Once you add something like full self-driving, that's gonna go up to, I believe, about $49,000, which is a good amount more than this. And Tesla does 0 discounts, whereas Chevrolet, you could probably get discounts from the dealership. Then you're talking something like a Kona Electric, which starts at around $34,000. I will admit it gets a little more real world range than what I've seen in the Bolt. Very good EV. Then you have the Niro EV, which is pretty comparable as well. And then you're gonna have vehicles like the Nissan Leaf, which is the same price as this. The range is pretty comparable if you go for the upgraded battery pack, but the issue with that one is it uses CHAdeMO, which is less, I guess, accessible than something like the CCS Combo, which this uses. So that's gonna wrap up the review of the 2022 Chevrolet Bolt EV. Now this is an excellent car, but it doesn't come without its downfalls. One of the biggest ones is this no longer gets the $7,500 federal tax credit. Now vehicles like the Leaf, the Kona EV, the Niro EV, they all get that $7,500 federal tax credit still, but because Chevrolet has sold so many of these Bolts, they no longer are able to get it. So that may or may not change whether you would get the competition over the Bolt, but we really want to know what you guys think. Comment below, would you choose this Bolt over the competition? And if you guys are new to CarGurus, we would love to have you subscribe. Be sure to hit that notification bell so you guys never miss an upload, and be sure to visit us on cargurus.com. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next review.